And we're back. Welcome to the Durin Show, the first episode of 2022, and the first episode for quite some time. What's up, Mitchell?
Not much. How about you? It's been a long time. Way too
It's
long,
been a,
probably.
it's been a while. We should address that straight off. So first off, Matt's not with us tonight. That's temporary. He just wasn't able to make the schedule this time around. He'll be back with us next episode. We've had some life events. We've had some craziness, some scheduling, just all of the traditional cliche excuses for why you can't make things happen. So we fell off a little bit, but I think anybody that's been in the area not waiting on a podcast can see that we're plugged into the hobby pretty hard right now. So content's going to be flowing very regularly here for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, we hit that stage where finally, like, things locally opened up. We've been crushing some games pretty hard, and we're like, oh, we'll put it off. And then scheduling conflicts, so we put it off a little bit more, and then we
Holidays.
Then we did tournaments, and then more conflicts, and then finally tonight was kind of a conflict for Matt, but we're like, you know what, we needed to do it. It's been
We'll
too
power
long.
through.
Yeah, we'll power through, just the two of us.
Nobody cares about him anyways. So we'll just we've got the talent here on the podcast.
We just let him tag along for the fun to make him feel.
No freeloaders tonight. No, we're giving him bad time. But like, we're not exaggerating when there's been a lot that's happened. So let's do a quick recap. Mitchell, you were just saying before we started recording, the last episode we had was published in July or August 2021.
Mm-hmm.
It was a long time ago. Since then, we have 4 tournament recaps. We've played in 4 like medium-sized tournaments since then. We've had a plethora of models get released. We have so many new legendary legions to talk about. There's a lot going on. I feel like it's a whirlwind to try and catch up a little bit, but
yeah, we're almost to our second supplement release. we're getting
second supplement release since our last episode.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's been crazy. So what do we want to do tonight? It's kind of a loose agenda. We are not going to do any of the bat reps, although we want to do the tournament recaps. Obviously, that's our favorite part. So we have the most fun, I think, is last weekend we just got back from Portland. Matt, yourself, and myself, we're all playing in the same tournament down in Portland. So we want to do a bat recap there. Tournament recap, and then we had 2 in Seattle that will do tournament recaps. Mitchell, that was just you and I playing in those ones, and then we had another Portland tournament. So we'll find a way to get those scheduled in where we can do recaps of what we were taking, what we were kind of playing around with, etc.
Yeah,
but
maybe
it's a good segue episode into what.
Yeah, maybe like a condensed episode with all of them together, something not super flushed out, but enough to briefly talk about them and what happened and what we liked about them. Because there was a lot that went down. We took unique lists to all of those ones.
Well, and a very, very experimental list. I think that's a good segue into kind of what we're passionate about, at least at the beginning of this year, and what we want to focus on is a lot of core ideas. I'm breaking the meta. I've said that probably too many times, but we'll dive into what that means. New ideas that we want to see work in 2022 in a tournament setting. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the unsung wild card here, Mitchell, is you and I are going to Las Vegas Open LVO next weekend. So I do want to at least touch on that because I feel like that's the first bigger event. That's the first big event we've done in a year and a half.
First big one I've ever done. I've never been to a big one.
Okay, that's fair. I was going to count some of the Canadian tournaments.
Oh, yeah.
Last Canadian tournament, it was like 30 people. That was pretty big.
That's true.
So, okay, this is the...
Do you know what the head count on LVO is? On how many players? I have no idea either, actually.
I'm assuming it's probably the same size. People have told me it's the same size as like Adepticon and Nova. And I went to Nova. That was 40 tables, 80 players. Ooh, so I'm assuming it's somewhere between 20 and 40 tables. It's got to be.
Yeah, so I was thinking about 50 to 60 players, probably something like that. Probably, I'm not sure.
That sounds what I've been told.
Okay,
but I think this is fun. I think this is the first time, and I'm probably going to get corrected here. I think this is either the first time or relatively recent that Lord of the Rings is at Las Vegas. So LVO has been a huge thing for a long time. Mm-hmm. But I think this is one of the first times somebody stepped up to do a Lord of the Rings Middle Earth strategy battle game wing of it. So.
That's cool. I'm excited.
Hopefully we get good representation. So that's a lot. What are we going to do tonight? I want to talk about LVO. Maybe we start with that, but I also want to touch on some of our focus for 2022. So we've got a crazy production studio that Mitchell built. So we've got a bat rep battle report calendar that's coming out for 2022. We did a demo game at the end of last year to like test out cameras, test out production. I think it turned out great. So we've got that coming. We've got a schedule for podcasts. We're going to reduce the podcast just a little bit because we're doing more battle reports and more tournaments. So the bat reps the podcast will be really focused on kind of what's happened in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, probably a lot of tournament recaps because those are breaking out like crazy. Not only just in general, but also in the area because we had 2 in Seattle at the end of the year. At the end of the year, and you have another one coming up. You should talk about that one. And then I'm planning another Seattle event, and then obviously Portland's taking off like crazy.
The plug for the Smog event, absolutely. Yeah. Plug that. So okay, so lots to get to. Why don't we start with Las Vegas Open? So Mitchell, walk us through the highlights, just a quick synopsis of what Las Vegas Open is, why is it unique, and then we're going to go into ideas and what we're taking.
All right, so Las Vegas Open is obviously your typical grand tournament. So Friday is the doubles event, and there's going to be 3 rounds. Each team is taking 400 points, so an 800-point total. And Marcus and I still haven't figured out what we're taking.
Yeah, we got to submit our list tonight, actually.
Yeah, we'll do the doubles one is day up, so that's okay. But our grand tournament list, we're gonna have to figure that out. But that is the Saturday, Sunday. It's gonna be 6 rounds, all one from each of the match play guide pools. So that's the unique thing. We'll literally go. I don't know if it's in order from the pools, but it does mention that it's from the pools of the match play guide. It's also following the scoring from the match play guide. So double VPs is a major victory. Win by less than double is minor, and it's a total of 6 tournament points for a major, 5 tournament points for a minor.
I'm going to interrupt you on that point because we played 4 tournaments over the last couple months. Having the new scoring, because really we didn't get a chance to really try the new scoring. Having the new scoring where 1 double VP, so 2-0, 4-2, 6-3, which are very common scores. Having that be a major victory, that gets you 6 tournament points, not the traditional 4 tournament points.
Mm-hmm.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
there's no more skating by on minor victories anymore on these 3 and 4 game tournaments. Major victory all the way.
Which is, I mean, I have conflicting thoughts on it because the one thing I have noticed in the last 4 tournaments we've been to is, I think in the last 4 tournaments we've been to in this scoring system, there has been a total of 3 minor victories or minor losses. Like everything else is major. So it's kind of like escalated it crazy. So I don't know if I'm actually a fan of the new scoring system just because, like you said, all the scoring system of 4-2, 6-3, 8-4, all that is very, very common, or like just winning by that margin.
I think the 2-0, 4-2s are that's the big one that is holy cow.
Yeah. And because 8-4 is still a major victory in the old scoring system, I guess. So that's a bad example. But like the ones I really noticed are the 7-4s. Like 7-3s, 6-3s, all that stuff is crazy.
7-3 because you're double 7-3, not 7-4. That makes sense.
7-3. Yeah, it's just it's weird because there's only major victories or major losses. Sorry, it's kind of so that's interesting. So that's just something to keep in mind when we built our lists, is how important all those VPs are, because stacking them and protecting your VPs are really, really important.
I think protecting VPs is a little bit more important now because you're not going, protecting VPs is important because if you protect 2, that's almost more powerful than gaining 2. If you can prevent 2 victory points, anyways. So you're Las Vegas, keep going. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. We're getting sidetracked. But the biggest thing about Vegas is it's 800 points. It's not required, but it's encouraged. And I thought, why not? But to take 2 armies, 1 good and 1 evil. I think that's the most.
It's not required? I thought it was required.
No, it's not required.
Oh, this is news to me, breaking a week before we go play. I swear it said it's required.
No, it's optional. It's encouraged to take 2. Oh. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to sound like an idiot after I share my list. I was going in based on the fact that I thought it was absolutely had to be good versus evil matchups.
Well, they're gonna. I think the wording on it is not clear on what they're gonna do. So if someone only takes one army, let's say an evil, does that force you to play your good if you have good, or can you still roll to decide who is good and evil? So the wording on it says at the beginning of each round, both players roll a dice. Whoever wins gets to decide who is good and who is evil. And I don't know if that means you can pick evil to play evil, and force, you know what I mean? I don't know what the wording on that means. So I don't know if someone only shows up with, let's say, the White Council, does that force you to play your evil army no matter what it is? I don't know. So that's an interesting wording thing to me. I am taking 2 armies, not only because it's fun, but I feel like the tactical options it gave me is much better. So like if I'm playing a recon, I want a fast mobile army. And if I'm playing a Lords of Battle, maybe a lower model count army. So I built 2 lists that are favored in more heavier scenarios versus, faster scenarios, and vice versa.
I feel like you're smoking something. I'm gonna have to like Google the requirements here. I swear it was required, but either way, we're both taking 2 armies.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody takes 2 armies. Otherwise, this could be awkward.
Not everybody, I bet, but we'll see. People who are flying in, I don't know, but I have it right here if you want me to read it.
Yeah, you should check this as we go. So you read that, but what I want to do is add on to this. So good versus evil. It's 5 rounds, so it's a nice long tournament. It's over 2 days. What are we bringing? So I'll go first since you're reading the requirements on this. I'm taking, and this is going to really segue into like the new legendary legions that are coming out. I'm taking Angmar. I'm taking magic heavy Angmar.
Ooh, for your evil.
For my evil. The reason I thought about it is I really wanted to take an army that I'm more competent with. I feel like for the longest time, for the last year, we've been taking newer armies that we haven't place tested a lot. At least personally, I have. And it's been great. It's been fun. And that's never an excuse for when you make a mistake. But I wanted to take an army where I felt like I had a good chance to try and to show out and do better than average. So I'm taking Angmar because I play that a lot, and I'm taking a Gulliver Angmar. I knew I wanted to take Gulliver. I play Gulliver all the time. Mm-hmm. And when we talk about all of these tournaments we've gone to, I've taken non-Gulliver Angmar. But I'm coming back to my roots. So it's Gulliver. The new part is I'm doing the Witch King on Felbeast. I've never done that before. So it's Gulliver, Witch King on Felbeast, which I know was a common 1-2 punch came out. And then my third hero, this is the interesting one. My third hero and my last hero is the Tainted on horse. I'm not taking any barrel lights. I'm taking 2 ring rates and Gulliver.
Ooh.
No other monsters, and a horde of orcs, and with lots of different things. And the thing that I've been really happy about is for the first time since my dwarves, since my Khazad Doom, I've play tested this army. So I've actually tweaked it quite a bit from my original idea. So this is where I've landed. I feel like I like it the best. I played against a lot of different matchups. I like this version of it. It's 47 models total, 3 heroes.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good when you figure out. I have over 500 points in heroes.
Yeah, Gulliver, that's really
Witch King on Felbeast.
Yeah. So you have 2 flying monsters, 2 spellcasters, 1. So the Tainted is actually a really unique option. I'm assuming that's to pair well with the 2 flying monsters, which is preventing your warriors from just warriors just tagging their flying monsters from hero actions.
It's more so it's pairing with Gulliver. The Tainted and Gulliver I found is just such a sneaky combo because you can run the Tainted up on horse last second to prevent that heroic move from being meaningful. So yeah, that's the good army.
And with your Harbingers, you have 3 Harbingers, so it'll pair well at the end. Because does the Tainted prevent also like standfasts as well? Is that or is it just heroic actions?
Yeah, no warrior can. If I spend that point of will, no warrior can take part of a stand fast. So yeah, I've got -1. The real key here is I want to break them quickly. But with the 3 spirits, I get a larger terror bubble with my army, and I've got some specters sprinkled in to try and take advantage of a flying monster combo. When I know, so I was assuming that I had to go up against a good army, so I figured the chance of me going up against a fearless or at least a higher courage army pretty high. But on the chance I go up against an Arnor or something that they weren't built for this, I feel like it kind of gives me a pretty significant advantage.
Mm.
So,
yeah, I mean, obviously you're comfortable with it and you play tested it because not many Angmars without a Barrow White, but I'm not disagreeing with it. I'm just saying that's quite unique for a list build for Angmar. I don't think I've ever seen an Angmar without a Barrow White, and I play a lot.
I feel
of Angmar.
I feel like I've gone. You play against a lot of Angmar.
I play against a lot of Angmar. That's what I meant. Yeah.
I feel like I've gone on a little bit of a journey with Angmar over the last 6 months. I've played, not to spoil it, I've played all monster Angmar with no Gullivar and no Ring Wraith. I've played my favorite I think that I've played. It struggled for a couple reasons, but my favorite was a no upgrade Witch King leader Angmar.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
I did play that one. Yeah.
The Wild Warg Angmar, holy cow, it is so powerful.
I hate the Wild Warg Chieftain, especially when you're. Good. Yeah, that was frustrating.
But anyway, so yeah, this is Gullivar Angmar. My good army is again, this is weird, but I've play tested this a decent amount. Not for Las Vegas, but I was talking about this as we were wrapping up like the last bit of episodes. It is a pure Army of the Dead. Not only do I love it just on standard matchups, but knowing that I'm going to be good versus evil against evil armies, pure Army of the Dead. I have at 800 points, I have 35 models, 3 heroes, a bunch of cavalry. I have 35 ghosts.
Yeah.
It is
all D8.
It is all D8. It is surprising how much of a punch it packs. I've played it probably 4 or 5 times against just a random assortment of opponents. It's been fun. So those are my 2 armies: pure Army of the Dead and a flying monster version of Angmar.
Yeah, both are extremely scary. The Army of the Dead one actually terrifies me because you have 3 heroes that wound almost everything on 3s. The terror bubble, you don't care about like heroic actions. You're probably never going to put yourself in a situation where the King of the Dead needs to be like heroic striking off because you don't care. But if he does, he has the 7 might to pull from your heralds and stuff like that. So I really like it. You don't care about heroic moves as much because you've got a full army of 35 terrors and D8 and spears everywhere. So yeah, no, that definitely is a scary one, I think, to go up. And the Angmar, the 2 flying monsters that I hate Gullivar. So having a Witch King and a Gullivar, I don't even know what I'd do against it. Honestly, I really don't. I can't go for the break because you're 47 models and you have 2 flying monsters. So that would be a struggle for me.
Well, Angmar always breaks, so I feel like everybody could go for the break. Those orcs are like wet noodles. It's like, what can your heroes do?
Okay, I guess I'm thinking specifically against my good army because my good army is all mounted. So the worst thing I could see is 2 flying monsters that can hurl. So I guess, and especially with magic to back them up. So I think if you were to face my army, you just rip it to shreds. There's nothing I could do against it. So
it's strong against. Okay, but what are you taking? That's a good segue.
So,
what are you taking?
So that's a good segue. So my evil list I built long time ago, and I think actually this was after the North Carolina.
September, right? No, because we booked Las Vegas in June. Actually, I looked at my email. We booked in June.
I built. Yeah, we booked it in June, but I had an idea of what I built for evil. I was playtesting a Conned Easterling Alliance that I was thinking about, and then the new supplement came out, and I decided, you know what, I'm going to do it.
Which supplement? Because this has been a while.
We're talking about this. You're right. So this is actually 2020. This supplement came out, and I built this list after the North Carolina event. So that would be like February of last year.
Yep.
And I came home from North Carolina. I was like, you know what? I'm tired. I love playing lists that I want to prove are good. But if I'm going to Vegas or something big.
This buildup is complete bonkers because you ripped this idea literally from my repertoire of lists. This was my list that just happened to be a legendary legion that magically appeared out of thin air. This is a list I remember emphatically because it was a post-event one time in Portland, and I said if I had to bet all of my armies on one list for one game,
Mhm.
this is what I would run.
Yep. And now I'm running it.
And
And
magically, lo and
it,
behold, Mitchell has this epiphany. Hey guys, I wonder what would happen if I ran this combination.
and it's been so funny too because Marcus has gotten frustrated as I've been playing it. And the best part about it is it only got better because with the Quest of the Ring Bearer release, it released this nice little Depths of Moria Legendary Legion where the Balrog got even better. The Black Shield Shamans are in the list, included in the list. The drum got like three times better, actually usable, the drum. So that's what I built. So as soon as the Quest of the Ring Bearer came out, I was thinking about it, and then after the North Carolina, I built it. So it is a Belrog with Marcus's 3 Black Shield Shamans, a drum, and a captain, and the rest is just goblins and prowlers.
Fearless goblins and prowlers.
So there's a lot of key things that go into this. So obviously White Council's been buzzing around. Everybody knows about it. But there's a lot of key things. So Balrog's already fight 10. He's got 10 will resistant to magic. Not invulnerable to magic, but can put up a good couple of turns.
For a couple turns, yeah.
For a couple turns. Has the whip. Has the whip. Can hero combat. Can single off. Can maybe one punch. If you get some traps with a whip, can one punch one of the White Council.
6 if you get the 6 off on the hit. Yep.
And then the other things too, as Marcus pointed out, the fearless goblins. So I don't care if you have Channel Terror or whatever you have. My goblins are going to charge you. Balrog's alive. The best part about this too, the Legendary Legion, is I don't count as broken until you deal with the Balrog, and I think that was one of the biggest things because deal with
especially with the new tournament scoring.
Exactly.
That's where the 2 points.
Exactly.
1s and 3s.
Exactly. So leader and denying you break automatically puts me ahead. Drum is an automatic banner. All the goblins get +1 fight. They're fearless. So you try to deal with the Balrog. He's got his insane rules already. On top of that, he can set people ablaze now while he's not even in combat with them. It's just insane.
Wait, the drum counts as I thought the drum as a banner effect doesn't count as a banner.
It does in the Legendary Legion.
It actually counts. So for VP scoring, oh, that's nice.
Yes. So it's unlimited range now.
That's
so
great.
I can hide it in the back. It's unlimited range on its banner, and it counts as
board wide
banner. Yep. So when we start a scenario that requires a banner, I'm automatically don't count as broken until you put 5 wounds on the Balrog. Already have an unlimited range banner that you'll probably never get to because I'm going to bury it inside a piece of terrain, and it has unlimited range. And all my goblins are fearless and fight 4 and fight 3 goblins. So it is
well. And doesn't the Legendary Legion still get the traditional backstabber rule where if somebody's trapped, they get +1 to wound? Do you get that in the Legendary Legion?
No, so you're thinking of the +1 fight if I trap. That's the army bonus for Moria. Oh. The backstabbers is linked to the prowlers, and they still.
That's why you have a plower.
Okay. Yeah. So I have about 7 or 8 prowlers. I can't remember, but they get the backstabbers, so they're +2 to wound when it's trapped and fight 4 when they're within 6 inches of the Balrog.
Because they're two-handed weapon, backstabber rule. Okay, yep, that's what it was.
Yep.
I couldn't remember what that was.
I have played this list in particular, I think 5 or 6 times now, and it's done very, very well. So it was like
you had a chance to stress test it.
Yeah, I've stress tested it for sure. So it's 5 or 6 times. Loved it. And it was like a no-brainer. I kept saying, like, I'm going to take it unless it does something horrible. And even with the Balrog makes me nervous because it's a 50% chance to roll a 6 when you have 4 dice and no, the banner doesn't affect him. It's still, even if he loses fights, I think that's the biggest thing with the Legendary Legion. The Balrog can lose fights and you still have a great chance of winning the game. Whereas before, if you took the Balrog, he had to do a lot of work. He had to win fights. He had to start killing things. But now because you don't break, you're like, okay, Balrog lost a fight, back up. Maybe I take a wound, maybe I don't.
And it's almost amazing because some genius thought of the concept of if you have anything but a magic matchup. If you're up against magic, the Balrog's going to perform fairly well because, again, there's a lot of pressure. You have to shut him down early. If you get a whip off, if you get a hero combat off, you can put a lot of pressure on a magic-based army. If you play a non-magic-based army, that anybody's susceptible to spells. 3, like some genius came up with the concept of 3 Black Shield Shaman throwing shatter on heroes, captains, shutting models down. It's
Oh, yeah.
amazing how that worked out.
Yeah, I will give you credit for that. That since I've done that, it has just been almost unfair. It really has.
It is
I
it is
I,
hilarious to watch. I'm
I
just gonna be dead serious.
it's so unfair. So
Shatter is like the most amazing spell that I
it
don't
is.
see used a lot. Like it's paralyzed,
It's
but for the
better,
goblins.
but better because they don't recover from it. So the amount of times I shattered a Day and Ironfoot's hammer and watched Day and Ironfoot lose to goblins and just thump goblins and bounce off of goblins, or I shatter Anduril from Aragorn King Alessar and Aragorn's walking around useless, or they have a banner and it's a VP scenario and they're like, okay, I'm gonna make sure this banner stays out of the Balrog's whip, and I'm like, I don't care, I have a 12-inch shatter range, your banner's gone, I don't even have to get to it, you can't even pass it now, your banner's gone. I've shattered Elven rings from Galadriel so that she can't re-roll her fate, like all these little things that
Wait,
go
you can
on.
do that? I
Yeah,
thought you could only shatter weapons.
you can shatter any piece of war gear except the One Ring. It specifically states the One Ring. You can't shatter the One Ring, can't shatter staves of power, and you can't shatter living things like roots or claws and beaks and stuff like that. So Elven
cool.
rings and Dwarven rings are completely up to snuff. I almost shattered the Arkenstone, but he resisted it. And he was getting nervous on that because I got some successful shatters on that, but he was able to resist it. Like it's just so much fun. It's so unfair because they're like, okay, I have Anduril, I have a Elven Maid, fight 6, free strike Aragorn against a Balrog. This is going to take it down. Oh, sorry, that Elven Blade is gone, and now your guy has also got -1 to the jewels.
The -1 to duel and -1 to wound. Unarmed, unarmed is -1 to wound. That's
Day and Ironfoot went from needing 3s to wound my goblins to needing 5s. Yeah, it was insane.
If he wins the fight.
If he wins the fight, yeah, and I have an unlimited range banner on all my goblins, so I have multiple dice in the. It's a fun list.
It's a toxic idea.
Yeah, and so for my good list, this is actually one that surprised me, and even still, I don't know if this is like if I had to bet all money that this is a list I would take. But I told myself when I started playing this one that I'm going to play it until it loses or until it doesn't make me happy anymore. And it hasn't done that yet. So I have to play it now based on my own, what I said. And this was a surprising list because Rohan, as you know, was my first ever army. I played Rohan first.
You played Rohan for like your first 8 years of this game.
Yeah, I played a lot of Rohan, and it was the skirmishy type Rohan. So when 2018, when the new Rohan came out, and then the new Riders of Theoden Legendary Legion, and almost everybody it seemed like was playing it, I shied away from it. Yeah,
the Super Might banner. Yeah,
I kind of shied away from it. And then Theodred's Guard came out. I said, okay, this kind of reminds me of old Rohan. I built Theodred's Guard. I had a ton of fun playing Theodred's Guard. And then I was like, well, I have my Rohan built now and painted. I might as well paint the heroes so that I can run Riders of Theoden. And the other thing that was coming to my mind is Gambling's banner was nerfed a little bit, so it wasn't as popular anymore. So I was like, oh, I'll give it a try. And I see why it was so popular. Oh my gosh. It is to have, I think, 25 might or something like that on average spent in a game. I've never had that flex before. Marcus, we played a game against it, and there's so many times. I was
gonna say, there's a reason you're not playing Theodred's Guard, because Theodred's Guard ran into some trolls. So then we switched to Theoden's Legendary Legion, and that ended up playing okay. So it's like, okay, that's the way we go.
Yeah, I like Theodred's Guard a lot, but there is some weaknesses with it. But Theoden's,
especially when facing rocks.
Oh my, yeah, exactly. Facing throwing stones from trolls that hit on 5+s and getting outshot with 27 throwing spears. But anyways, that's a bat rep we're gonna have to go over. But the Theoden's one, how many times did I flop a roll? And I was like, yeah, I'll just might it. I'll just flex it up to that word I need. And all of a sudden, all my heroes were just doing mass output. Yeah. And there was another tactical decision because I was having fun with it. I said, if I'm going to run this Legendary Legion, I'm just going to run all the heroes. And it ended up being a kind of play style that I actually like. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with my list build probably because I'm running all 7 heroes in Riders of Theoden. So my model count's pretty low. But at the same time, I feel like it pairs well, especially with the good versus evil. So like with my evil, I have the model count if I need to make sure I have the bodies, but for my good, I have the speed and the low model count if I need to. So the flex options are that way. So anyways, that's what I'm running is Riders of Theoden, Riders of Theoden Legendary Legion at 800 points. It has all 7 heroes and 11 Royal Guard plus another Royal Guard banner and an additional Rider of Rohan because I ran out of Royal Guard.
Yeah, no, it packs a punch for sure, as everybody knows.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting, like, because like I think we all three of us are this way a little bit, like shying away from what's common. So it's funny that after 2 or 3 years, however long the edition's been out, now that Rohan has lost its luster a little bit, and there's these new shiny legendary legions, going back and revisiting what we didn't really play a lot. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree, and it's been fun too. Like, just you like you said, rediscover. Like, oh yeah, this was my first army ever since I started the hobby in 2004. It's been fun to play again. Playing with Gambling's banner has been so much fun again. I missed that guy. So
he's surprisingly tough to kill.
He is.
But
yep.
Okay, so that's I think that's what we're looking forward to. So Las Vegas is next week. It'll be a good weekend. We've got to write our doubles list probably tonight and then submit everything probably just to be easy. So that's definitely the big thing on the horizon. Adepticon's coming up in March. I'm trying to convince you to go to that. I bought my tickets last week or whatever. So we'll see if we can get a showing there. Matt's not going to Las Vegas. I don't think he'll be able to make it to Adepticon. We'll see what you can do. But there's quite a few events here in the next 4 months locally in the Northwest and abroad. The plug is because you reminded me, I forgot I scheduled this. We're doing an interesting event in Seattle. We're not doing a normal event. So we're trying to get a lot of people to show up. It's built for 32 players, but we're doing a Smog giveaway. Champion gets Smog, the model. Crazy, it'll be fun. It's a different tournament style. It's not a Swiss pairing. It's a straight bracket all the way to the model, all the way to the grand prize.
Losers out.
Losers out. They keep playing games. They just play in the losers. They play in the constellation bracket.
Yeah, and that is a Swiss pairing. The losers bracket is a Swiss pairing and has a typical tournament style to it, so that not everybody is just automatically out for But I love the setup on this.
Yeah, it'll be great. And honestly, I don't say this lightly. I feel like we've been able to play in a lot of different areas over the last 2 years. It's been fun. It's been great to meet people. It's been great to see other communities. But I'll go out on an absolute limb and say the Seattle community now officially has the best menu for boards in terms of scenery, in terms of what types of tables we've built, the quality of the tables. It's unequivocal, and I think this will be probably the second time the community, the Seattle community, will be able to kind of flex. Like, there is from an elvish boards to Angmara to Hobbit holes to Rohan to like everything you can imagine in between. The community has built some unbelievable terrain, and it's fun to play on. Like, there's the terrain that it's fun to look at, and there's the terrain that's fun to play on. This is like an awesome combination of both. So I'm hoping we get a good turnout, so we can show a lot of the different types of scenery and boards we've collected over the last little bit.
I'm hoping so. Marcus has put a lot of good thought into this, guys. So if you're thinking about it and you wanted to ever come to a tournament, honestly, this would be the one, because like Marcus said, we have some boards already set up that are going to be, I agree with you, Marcus. I think they're pretty fun. They remind me of a lot of Pat's boards down in Portland. That's honestly where a lot of them are inspired from.
He's top tier.
But these boards a lot of them are based off that. And like you said, the community has built some awesome ones. So it's going to be fun for that reason. It's fun for the grand prize. It's fun because it's a different tournament style. So it's a change up from the common one. It's going to be low points. So that's also a little bit of a change up in the gameplay.
Yeah, only 400 points.
I'm excited for this. I'm glad you took off with this idea, because the reason we got this idea was the store we usually host tournaments at, the big store, he's got like 3 Smogs or something like that in the store.
He bought 3 Smogs all at once.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
I know. And you should tell like how we even came up with this idea.
I don't remember how it started.
Oh, he came up, he's like, you should do a Smog as a grand prize or something like that. And we're like, oh, that'd be kind of cool. That'd be kind of cool. And then you came up with the idea of like, winners are out. Winner moves up, losers out. It's a bracket system.
It's winner take all.
Winner take all, take Smog, and I love that idea, and you kind of ran away with it. So I think it'll be fun. I think it really will.
It's not winner take all. We've got some cool. This will be the first time we can do a true wooden spoon. Like I think sometimes though I've seen the wooden spoon be like the player that struggles the most or whatever in a tournament. Now the wooden spoon is the person that came up just short. So it'll be the person that doesn't quite make it to the championship, but is still playing well. Yeah, it'll be a cool flair for sure.
Yeah.
But that's in April. Check out the Seattle page, or now that the American page, the AS, I can't remember what's called.
ASBG or something like that. Yeah, American League Strategy, AL.
The East Coast one, the one that Devin started. Now that they have a listing of all events, we posted that event there, so it's got the details. It'd be fun to see players.
Yeah, that'd be very cool, and we'll have lots more events, I think, coming up. We're just starting to get into a routine, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, we've got quite the little population of players here in Seattle now. It's been great.
It's been growing. It's been growing. It's been good. It's been really good.
Okay, so I wanna move on. So obviously we've got lots of bat reps, lots of tournament recaps to do coming up. The funny thing I was thinking of is you're talking, Mitchell, 4 tournaments since September. You and I have faced off in 3 of them. In the middle round in all 3 of them.
Yep.
It's so the bat reps. We've got a lot of brother versus brother action. It'll be fun to recap.
And to make it even better, it was the last 3 tournaments. So
it's 3 in a row.
Yeah, it's 3 in a row. So the last 3 tournaments have been 3 rounds. Marcus and I faced off in round 2.
Yep.
In the last 3. And you have taken the advantage 2 of the 3 times. So
no, it'll be good to recap. Lots of hero challenge were called. Lots of blitzes were summoned. So it'll be fun to go back and recap those. But what's even more interesting, I think, is looking at what's kind of coming up in 2022. So mentioned at the very beginning, but the battle reports. So Mitchell, the studio you built, we're actually recording 2 games this week. We're going to get some games into the cameras, and our goal is to start putting out some pretty regular battle reports where we can showcase some of these weird ideas. We come up with interesting ideas. We come up with unique ideas that we talk about, like, hey, maybe they'll be good on paper, maybe they'll be good on the battle. Who knows? Now we'll actually be able to play them. It'll be a good mechanism for us to actually put our models on the board, and then we can share it with the community. But honestly, it's become so much more like apparent that I want to do this, and this is going to be a priority for us because of the legendary legions that have come out and just the vitriol and the backlash. And I think this is good for the community, debate and people having different opinions. Like, it's fun. Like, it's fun to be engaged, and it's fun to argue with people, to a certain extent on like what you think. But there's been so much. Oh man, like we talked about it when the Black Dart FAQ came out, and everybody was saying, "Oh my gosh, the Black Dart's overpowered." Well, now we have the Vanquisher's Legendary Legion out of the Fall of the Necromancer supplement, and I'll be honest, I came out pretty hard, like privately amongst like the local people, and like, whatever. There's a lot of hype. Nobody cares. You just haven't thought hard enough about how to counter it. Like, it's actually pretty good. That Legendary Legion is powerful.
This one has a lot more foot to stand on than the Black Dart one. It really does.
In good versus evil settings, but I think
especially good versus evil, yeah.
In settings where you could have good versus good matchups, it's definitely it comes back down to earth really quickly.
And it comes down to the typical. It depends on the scenario too. I wholeheartedly believe that one. So like Vanquishers on scenarios like Recon, there's only so much you can do. I mean, there really is. I mean, so there's certain scenarios. Sea Surprise, Recon. Sea Surprise is a little different because they can command you to drop it in theory, but you can just swarm and like cover it up. Hold ground is kind of tough and stuff like that. Just little things like that. We'll see. I guess more of a spread out scenario, but yeah,
armies that don't succumb to courage. Like your Legendary Legion with the goblins. We haven't play tested this, so I play tested I play tested a Gandalf Aragorn against the Vanquishers. I play tested a Lothlorien versus Vanquishers. Both of those went in like very interesting ways. So I think the reaction that I've seen online on Facebook, like where people are like, "Oh, it's so overpowered." Definitely an overhype. However, I think I'm going to see a lot of Vanquishers in Las Vegas because
Yeah. Yeah,
good
it's gonna
versus
be.
evil.
Oh,
800 points is a sweet spot for that Legendary Legion.
it is, and it's only 5 models to pack on the plane. I mean, it's right. It's got everything you want for a traveling tournament. Especially good versus evil, like you said. That's going to be extremely hard to get difficult. I was kind of with you at first, and I was like, oh, it's just the next, Black Dart or whatever. And then I started seeing it more and more, and I started like trying to build around it. And it is really, really tough. It reminded me, honestly, I haven't list planned around a specific thing since the Shade. Honestly, like when the Shade was everywhere and you saw the Shade, and no matter what, every time I built a list to a tournament, I said, what's my answer to a Shade? And then it got nerfed and now you don't see it anymore. I haven't done that since, but now when I was prepping for these tournaments, I have been definitely thinking, what will happen if I face a Vanquishers now? I did see it. I didn't see your games that you talked about, but I did see it in a thematic battle of the 2 new Legendary Legions. So it was the Rise of the Necromancer versus the White Council. And I will say the scenario didn't help the Rise of the Necromancer very much. It didn't, but my goodness, it just trashed them. It really did. Every time that the Necromancer and the Nazgul got some momentum, they'd heal up and then banish everybody else or blast them and Elven Blade them. It was just, the healing up is the biggest thing for me. We can talk theories and stuff like that, like you said in battle reports, but the healing, I think, is the most untalked about thing about that Legendary Legion.
I was going to say something else. So, let's tease this a little bit. So, in our next episode, we've got a list. We've got a whole list of like interesting questions and rule questions that we want to go through. Mm-hmm. From what we ran into in tournaments, what we run into in casual games. The Vanquisher is actually on this list, and it's the concept of resistance to magic stacking with Fortify Spirit. Mm-hmm. And so you say healing. Yeah, there's a lot of spells where you can cast Renew, and Radagast can potentially heal a lot of wounds to models. But in my mind, the thing that makes that list so unreal is the fact that it appears, and we'll talk about this more later, but it appears the consensus right now is resistance and fortify stack, which means if you get everything off, a model could have 3 free dice to resist a spell, and then within 6 inches of, I think it's Gladriel, that is at +1. So it's 3 free dice at +1 for any resistant test.
Yeah, the +1 is the basically army bonus. So that's any other White Council member. So that's been around. It's any White Council member. You get +1 when you're within either 3 or 6 inches. I can't remember. But the resistance to magic is given by Gladriel, and Gladriel also casts the Fortify Spirit.
Fortify Spirit.
Yeah. So she is going crazy. To be. Yeah. So the way I if I was to play the Legendary Legion, she would be touching Radagast at all times because you do not want to lose her. She is your auto banish that can't be resisted last turn. She's your resistant magic. She's the -1 to courage. She's your blinding light. She's your Fortify Spirit. She would never come out of base contact with Radagast if I was playing that Legendary Legion. Just saying.
It's crazy. I don't think it's overpowered because it has a lot of very big weaknesses.
Anything that requires you to be within 3 inches of yourself and you only have 5 models is going to have some struggles scenario wise. There's no way around it. But if you get that short end of the stick of where you have to play this,
if you're playing a mortar with ring rates, courage 2 models, and your ring rates get banished, or you can't come in, you can't use them. Like that's aim. I've played Angmar against Army of the Dead. I just did that recently, actually. Like courage 1 models trying to charge something, and with the White Council, the other thing that's fun is you have to there'll be. I mean, realistically, there'd be channeled terrifying aura. So as you're rolling 3 dice, picking the lowest 2, there's so many things whereas you'll just never get into combat. And so those games, you just you pick up your models and go home.
Which sucks. If there is an argument, so the community that's saying that any time that happens is a bad for the game or whatever, it kind of makes sense, honestly. It comes to the argument of it, like, let's say we're obviously talking competitive, so like tournament wise, fun wise. I don't know, honestly. Pete was the one I saw who played this thing, and he was the one playing with the White Council, and he had a headache playing it casually, just, trying to remember all the rules, all the characters,
like 14,
everything.
There's like 14 legendary rules or something
And
crazy.
on top of that, he angered his opponent quite well with just how frustrating it is. Kind of frustrating if you get that matchup. So like, I don't see it being played casually. So there's an argument that anytime an army can't be played casually,
it's like Sauron. It's like the old Sauron.
Exactly, old Sauron.
You don't bring those models.
Yeah, exactly. You don't bring those ones out. Competitively, yeah, there's the argument of if you have any sort of a bad matchup at all against this, run and take the draw. Like, don't even try to engage it. Like, and anything, you could make the argument that anything that does that to the game is bad for the game. Like you said, we don't think it's broken, but there is some merit to the argument.
You know what I hope I see in Las Vegas. This is my hope.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I see White Council versus Goblin Town.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just have 100.
So funny.
Yeah.
100 goblins that run to the corner of the board.
Yep. And honestly, if there's any objective scenario, the White Council can't win it against 100 and something models. They can't kill that many. There's not enough turns. And you think 5 models doesn't take that much of a turn? Oh my gosh, those 5 models with all their special rules and all their magic that they do actually take arguably longer to take a turn than a normal army. You have to
be very careful.
You have to be very careful with everything you do. You have to remember everything you want to do. Then your opponent has to remember everything and clarify. That it does eat up a lot of time. So I think, if anything, we're going to see a lot of White Council, but they might get frustrated playing with it because people will start figuring out, I'm just going to run from you. And so it's not going to be fun for either player, probably. I don't know, but I do expect to see it at Vegas.
I hope we see a few of them in Vegas. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to come back and report on that. But so the thing that I think everybody's glancing over, at least I think everybody's glancing over. Holy cow, this game, so this edition's been out since 2018. So we're coming up on this is over 3 years.
We've been over 4 years. Yeah, over 4 years.
Over 4 years. Oh, I thought it came out the end of 2018.
No, yeah.
Okay.
No, yeah, you're right. My math's wrong.
I think it came out the end of 2018. Whatever it is. The concepts that were introduced with the Fall of the Necromancer, the new game mechanics, casting in combat, casting 2 spells a turn. The coolest thing I think has dropped in any supplement. And I love all the Legendary Legions. I love the concept of those Legendary Legions. I like what they're trying to do, what Jay's trying to do with the Legendary Legions. But the new core mechanics of 2 spells a turn.
I love the 2 spells a turn. I love the 2 spells a turn.
Amazing. Casting in combat, it's such a brain twister because it completely flips how you've learned the game, how you think you know the game. So it turns it on it. It turns it on its head. So I love that.
I wouldn't even argue to people that say that that's the worst thing they could have done. I don't hate it too much, the casting in combat. I think
it's super fascinating.
It's different. It's different. Yeah, it's different. It can be frustrating, but like I said, I think it's also kind of cool to change it up. I don't know.
It's a completely new mechanic. I mean, obviously it's new, so we'll get to play it.
Let me say that now, and then when I play White Council in Vegas next week, and I surround it with a Belrog and goblins that auto charge, and they've got the traps, they're gonna get some one punch, and they knock everything down in combat. Yeah. And I'm gonna be sitting there, and then I'm gonna come back on this podcast and say this is the worst thing that's ever happened in the game.
No, I hear you, but no, what they've done is super cool. I think the one that I haven't seen a lot, honestly, is, and I think it's super powerful, is the Azog. It's the Pits of Dol Guldur.
Yeah.
Where he gets the Saruman Palantir rule.
Yeah.
But it's uncounterable. That's not even a word. You can't counter. You can't call heroic moves to counter the heroic. So if you play it right, what that essentially does is you've got back-to-back movement and charges with Azog and whoever else you can bring with him.
Mm-hmm.
That is insane, and I think that's really cool.
On top of that, a Fight 7 Azog who is now resistant to magic and calls free hero combats.
Yeah.
Ugh, that is weird.
Potentially, if you play your cards right, it's a guaranteed 2 consecutive moves. That's a flank. So think about it. You charge on a flank, you combat around a flank. The next turn, you're guaranteed to go first without counter, which means if you have a target, like the assassination bubble, the Pits of Dol Guldur in a way becomes similar to if you're facing a flying monster. You gotta like your opponent will have to think so much about how far, because what's that? That's 10, 20 a move plus combat plus a move. That's a 30-inch threat range with Azog on White Warg.
Absolutely.
That's crazy. That's
crazy.
And
it's worse than a flying monster, I would say, because with a flying monster, I always try to bait it in because, yeah, you might get this one big thing, but now you're at a 50-50 chance I'm going to be able to surround it or you're going to get away.
It can't fly out.
Oh my gosh, now there's nothing I can do about it. So you can throw Azog in to a flank, heroic combat, put him way exposed, way more exposed than he should be, and not fret because you have that auto win priority that can't be countered and move away. So you can really play Azog without risk, but almost risky. You know, so it's going to really take people off guard because they're not going to expect you, especially though like D5 Azog. Yeah, you can play him
glass
to the max. Yeah.
No, so I love the new mechanics that are being introduced. I think it's super cool. It'll be fun to build off of. Doesn't the Necromancer get 2 attacks in combat now?
2 attacks in combat and can cast 2 spells per turn now. Yep.
Yeah, that's I think that's dope.
On
an
army that was already good. I mean, we've seen the Necromancer and the 9 Nazgul played all the time.
Because Victor from the Chicago League, he's taken that. I mean, for the last couple of years, it's the Necromancer and his Nazgul,
and done well. And done well with it. Yeah. It was already good. Now it's just automatically better. It's like almost like taking a Balrog Legendary Legion.
I legitimately wish that the Necromancer rules, at least the 2 attacks, I wish that would have come into the army bonus so you can take, because I'm personally not a fan of the Necromancer and the Nazgul. Like I'm definitely going to get the army and paint it up. But I wish I could take the Necromancer and just normal orcs and spiders and whatever else. But
yeah, run it old. There was we haven't seen any of the Mirkwood Rangers Legendary Legion. I haven't just never seen those.
I've got that in my cart right now. I think that is everybody disagrees with me. I think that is the freaking hidden gem of all the armies that got released in the Legendary Legion. I am most excited to try the Mirkwood Rangers because one, we've seen it before. Right, everybody's played Mirkwood Rangers. I've seen it I think I've seen it 3 times in tournaments, and they always play 500. They go major victory every time they have the chance to shoot, and they go major loss every time they don't have the chance to shoot. And with this Legendary Legion, they get shielding, and they get a combat-based Legolas, which Tyrael was already amazing. I just played against her in a different tournament recently, and I forgot how freaking good Tyrael is. She's very good. And now you got a Legolas to go along with it. I think with the shielding to protect that high point investment per model, I think Mirkwood Rangers are going to be scary.
It also might play into our personal urge to play something that's not popular. So everybody's screaming, Pits of Dol Guldur or White Council, and you might be wanting to play the Rangers because nobody else is. That might play into it too. But I agree with you. I think it just reminded me. I know. I think it just reminded me of like Rangers of Ithilien, which is hilarious because I expected everybody to jump on that, but nobody did. And I was like, why is that? Is it just because they're D3 instead of D4? Why is that? You don't have as many models, but you have better heroes and higher fight value models. Like I was confused on that as well, but I agree with you. I think Rangers will be good.
I just thought if I face if I face the Mirkwood Rangers with my Angmar, I'm in a lot of trouble. I've played Angmar against Rangers of Ithilien and been okay. Because 6s to wound. I got lucky with the fact that there's not a lot of 6s rolled early, so I could make up for the distance and get into combat. If I play against Mirkwood Rangers with my Angmar, that is going to be a rough day. That's going to be a very rough day.
Yeah, especially with Deadly Shot on your Nazgul or your Gullivar. Yeah, because you have Legolas, you have the best shooter in the game, backed up with some amazing shooting. Like, yeah,
yes,
I I wouldn't want to see that on a straight board either. Honestly, that terrifies me.
I hope I get my good army against that matchup. But anyways.
But so that's like all 4 legendary legions from the last supplement that was officially released, and we are dangerously close to the next supplement, which I have been hyped for over probably a year now, because ever since the Acolytes got released, we all knew it was coming.
Oh, your background picture.
That we knew that the Defense of the North, or we called it War in the North at the time, but then realized there was a publishing conflict. But it's called Defense of the North now. We know it. We know it's coming. We've been teased some amazing models, including a dragon.
I wonder if they're going to do an announcement during Las Vegas to release something else. Because think about it, Las Vegas is going to be the first larger event. That's probably too far west. It's probably too far west for the.
I think it's too far west, and I don't think it's an official GW tournament. So
okay.
I bet you it might come out, but I don't know when. But we have seen a silhouette of the Dragon Emperor. We've seen some silhouettes of, it looks like an Easterling captain and a war priest, but they might be named based on the 2 new named orc heroes that were released.
Those two. I want to talk about those in a second.
Yeah, those are some cool looking models. We have also been confirmed some new Black Dragon models, which also look pretty cool and kind of
and mysteriously timed with the made to order that just dropped, like what, today or yesterday?
Yep, today.
With the Easterling, the metal Easterling models, where you can they're gearing up. They're getting really good at teasing people, stringing them along.
Yeah, we're getting really, really close to the release. And you're right. The made to order just came out, so we got lots of models. We've just had the orc releases. We've been teased some silhouettes. I've honestly been checking every day. We've been ready. And when I got the notification today, I really thought it was it, and I was upset. Actually, I was probably the only person in the whole world that was upset that it was a stupid made to order, because I thought it was the release. And then I looked at the made to order and I was like, I have all those already. I don't want these. I want the release. So I might be the only person who was upset today because I was teased again. But
yeah, there's going to be some good legendary legions dropped. I think it's going to be fun. So with our BatRev schedule, I have been on a painting frenzy in January. I have done a lot of painting. I finished my scouts, my Lurtz's scouts. I finished my Angmar. Over the last couple months, I've gotten like 10 monsters painted. A whole slew of like minor heroes, so it's been fun. So I want to convert that into getting the Mirkwood Rangers up. I want to basically have us in a position where we can play all of the legendary legions from the Fall of the Necromancer, because I feel like we're already in a position where we can play all of the armies from the next supplement that's going to come out, because you've got all of the Easterlings. Matt's got a lot of the Hobbit armies. And then we can, and he's got all of the Hobbit armies, so he can play any of the Dol Guldur, Hunter Orcs, Dale. He can play any of those.
Yep.
So we'll be able to
play all the whole Necromancer stuff too. Yeah. So yeah, that'd be fun to gear up
to mess around with that a little bit.
Absolutely. And also like spitball our weird random list ideas that we talk about on this podcast. I think it would be fun because we come up with these ideas and I know they fall short in some areas. Like people are like, no, that's not the typical way of running it. But we have this idea and I think it'd be really fun to put it down on video and like show you what it can do in our minds. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the first ones I'm doing is a no upgrade Witch King led Angmar, because
which is
everybody laughs at me. Everybody laughs at me. And then you see it, you're like, well, wait, I didn't think you could bring all of this with the. So all you have to do is make sure nobody can get a shot off. Yeah, sure, you could face Legolas and be in a lot of trouble. Sure, you could face the Lady of Light and be in a lot of trouble. But if you don't, there are a lot of other armies you could play other than the insta-kill on a one wound, no fate Witch King. And then it's like, oh man, there's a lot of punching power that comes with that. I've had so much fun with that this fall. This fall's early winter.
And in our game, I never even got into combat with him. The only time I played that, I didn't even get in combat with him. And I got into combat with pretty much everything else in your army, but not your Witch King. So I can't say much about it. So yeah, super tough to kill. A 1 wound, no fate Witch King.
Yeah, if you don't, even with shooting, yeah, he's still tough to kill.
Yep, D8. Yeah, it would take a weird random shot, and you were safe with him. Like I don't think I could have taken a shot, even if I wanted to, because you had to hit him.
Yeah, I was playing a lot of like behind cover. He would pop out, cast a spell, pop back. Like he was playing very passive.
Untargetable. Yeah, untargetable, which is good. But yeah, no, I think that would be also pretty fun to throw down on the lists. Yeah, and also like the random lists you don't see very much anymore, because that's what we obviously like to play. I think that'll be fun too. And the great thing I was thinking about too with if we are going to record 2 bat reps tomorrow and just slowly release them, you guys will be seeing our LVO list, because this is also going to be practice for Las Vegas tomorrow. And
yeah, we're doing good versus evil, good versus evil.
Good versus evil, our good versus evil, our good versus evil. These are tournament lists that will be really competitive on film. just so you guys know, this is going to be like, if you want to see tactical precision and like maximizing everything, that's going to be.
Are you joking? Like, I feel like you're building this up a little bit.
No, it's on. No, we're well, hopefully we don't kill each other, but it'll be fun, I think.
It'll be interesting for sure. I'm excited to see, because it'll be Army of the Dead versus the Belrog and a goblins who don't care about terror against Angmar. Monster flying Angmar against the Rohan. So.
No, I don't want to play that. I just said I don't want to play that. We might have to change that up now. No, that'll be a short. It'll be a short game. We might have to change that.
It'll be a lot of hero combat, so we'll see how it goes.
Oh, that makes me nervous. All right, we'll see what happens. No, because you're just gonna compel a royal guard out, hero combat off of him, and then hurl down the line with 2 flying monsters.
We'll see.
I feel like you're angry at me.
I gotta get some revenge on some Rohan. But anyways, that's what's on the lineup. So one more time before we wrap this up. Our next episode, we've got a slew of interesting scenarios and rules and use cases we want to walk through, as well as Matt was actually up here randomly, and we were doing a lot of talking / recording on interesting scenarios that we ran into, like in game, what would you rather do? So we've got some pictures we can throw up and talk through those scenarios, and then we'll start chipping away at our tournament backlog. I'd love to bring you the bat reps. We've taken a lot of notes to kind of remember and hopefully take you along with the journey of what's happened here since September in terms of tournaments. And then I'm really excited to go to Las Vegas, play in the Open, because that's the first big event, and share kind of how we've done, because we underplayed it a little bit here, but this is the first time I've done prepping in a long time. And so we're both taking this pretty serious. And so it'll be fun to see, like, hey, did it work out? Did it work out like we thought it did? Did we get totally smacked? Yeah, it'll be fun.
It'll probably be the latter for me, but I think it'll be fun
for everybody.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Anybody that says they're good at this game, the automatic counter is you're playing with toy soldiers on a board. Sit down.
With dice.
With dice. Sit down.
Wow.
No, it'll be a good time.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I'm excited. I'm really nervous, but I think it'll be fun. Hopefully, I can just relax. But it's fun. April, yeah, I'm excited for like also our local events that we're going to be doing. I think that's my favorite thing, that I don't have to travel super far just to get to a tournament again. I think that's been great, just having a lot of local stuff. So I'm excited for that too.
Yeah, ditto. All right, well, been great. Happy 2022. Excited for what the year holds, and cheers until next time, everybody.
Until next time.